There are currently about a few dozen high-profile pony conventions in operation worldwide. Many are located in high-traffic international markets like the UK, Germany, Holland, and China, but about half of them are located in the United States, the third most populated country in the world. This has posed an issue to creators, particularly musicians in countries like Australia with less than a tenth of the population that don't have an active pony convention scene, who have to travel overseas to show off their work to an in-person audience. To help raise funds to cover travel expenses, in 2012 a handful of musicians created Ponies at Dawn, a group originally created to showcase Australian talent that has since grown into a mammoth thrice-annual anthology project dedicated to showing off pony talent worldwide. Over a decade later, Ponies at Dawn has released 29 albums, the 30th of which, entitled Survivors, drops this Saturday, September 28th. To celebrate, I did 3 things this summer that I never thought I'd be able to do in a million years. Firstly, I'm actually on the album this time. Me and my buddy Canvas wrote and produced a song featuring Leaf Song and Jeff Burgess that we're really proud of. I also got to pick the brain of ExplodingPonyToast, a long-standing member of the label who is a wealth of knowledge about all the ins, outs, and behind the scenes of hosting such a huge anthology series. The third is the most important of all, and the one thing that I hope everyone takes away from this episode. Because Ponies at Dawn returns almost 100% of its initial sales to the artists, it's not concerned with turning a profit. That means that right now on Bandcamp, for a minimum donation of $1.50, you can get your hooves on their entire discography. Over 120 hours of music. $1 per hour, this is the best deal I've ever seen on music, especially if you're a pony fan like me with a giant gap in my brain where my musical knowledge should be. So this summer, I sat down and listened to all of it. Over 4 months, I caught up on over a decade of pony history, and I want to show you what I found. All the songs I'm going to mention come with annotations so that you can check out any of the songs in this video organized in the video description. I've also organized a playlist of my personal 100 favorite songs from the entire catalog, so you can tell me how closely our musical tastes match up when you're done here. And finally, all the comments I'm going to make in this video are compliments, even if my lacking musical vocab sometimes makes it seem like I'm being snarky. Normally when I do episodes like this, I like to think that I did my research, and I at least have a pretty good idea what I'm talking about. This is absolutely not the case here. I have an extremely basic musical vocab, and I basically dove headfirst into over a decade of pony history, so I'm absolutely going to make some mistakes here. I don't know most of these people from Adam, so I wasn't familiar with a bunch of fandom classics until I heard remixes on these releases. I had never heard Anthropology before the remix by BlackIceMusic. I didn't know about Cupcakes, the horror fan song based on that infamous fanfic of the same name, until the spooky-ass remix by AcoustiLectric. And I didn't know about Tridashie's original animated cover of Pony Girl until the trap remix by TPressleyJ. This is a real labor of love by 4 different creators, which is everything I love about the Ponies at Dawn label to begin with. One of the most remixed songs in the entire series is a collaborative effort between ExplodingPonyToast, LutariFan, and ThatMusicBrony that you may have heard before called Start Again.
So we're here now, looking at the sky, watching sunrises bleed and colors go by. Don't you think that there's another way to rise up to the sun and take back the day?
Toast went into detail about all the care the 3 of them put into that track, and attributes a lot of its remix potential to its uniqueness and the fact that the stems of the song were openly available, allowing and encouraging anyone to make their own remixes. A similar storm occurred on Ponies at Dawn's 4th album, The Remixes, where the available pool of remixable songs was much smaller, resulting in 7 different covers of EnsionD's song Open Skies. Toast attributes a lot of that album's wonkiness to the team still being amateur producers at that point, but I can still appreciate the creative effort, and it's neat to see how different artists remix the same song. Sometimes this can lead to some crazy song titles, like when Forever Free Brony had 6 guests on his song Second Chances, to the point that the YouTube upload had to save space by referring to them all as a bunch of shredders. It's that sort of messiness that I love in these collaborations, which makes my noticeably crappy musical know-how less noticeable. When I refer to the Wasteland Wailers as a pop, rock, folk, country band, I'm no more than 60% confident in any of those labels, but with how nebulous musical genres are anyway, I'm sure one of those is at least close enough to land somewhere in the right neighborhood. There's a definite gradient when it comes to a song's genre, and I'm no stranger to examining how blurry the line can get, but there are also some pitfalls to musical classification in general. When I was a kid, my dad listened to a lot of Dan Fogelberg. One of his favorites was a song called Same Old Lang Syne, about 2 old lovers who reunite in a supermarket parking lot on Christmas Eve. It's a beautiful, bittersweet song, and its tangential relationship to Christmas and New Year's means it used to get a lot of radio play around the holidays. I say used to because I haven't really heard it played for a couple couple of years now. I wonder if maybe it fell out of popular favor, or if some folks just didn't consider it a Christmas song anymore, which is a bummer because I want more people to be able to experience what a bittersweet masterpiece that song is. That's mostly anecdotal, but it's a good example of the limiting nature of categorizing music at all, both on the micro level of being unable to classify some of the awesome Frankenstein's monster songs I've heard over the summer, and on the larger scale of tackling the largely fruitless question of deciding what counts as pony music. It's easy to get really protective of your interests. I've seen some people who were put off by the perceived lack of purity on these releases, of the opinion that songs on a pony music label should be more explicitly pony than normal collections of music. Toast was also very familiar with this argument, and explained to me that Ponies at Dawn is not a label he wants to turn into the rules police on what counts as pony music. Other people may have higher thresholds, and there are frequently artists on their albums that wouldn't consider themselves pony artists, but it's important to note that other artists wanting to appear on a pony music label is a really healthy sign for the fandom, and something that should be encouraged. They're also really open on how different artists can collaborate on a project. Canvas, Leaf, Jeff, and I collaborated on our song Architect, but I could also have submitted a song by myself. Generally speaking, any distinct combination of artists is allowed to submit a song of its own, which can sometimes lead to some silly situations, like when Koa ended up on 11 different tracks on 2020's Eclipse, an event that was affectionately dubbed the Koapocalypse. Some of my favorite songs are the ones that are just fan songs about how cool certain characters are. There are songs about Twilight, Maud, Tree Hugger, Derpy, Applejack, Zakora, no fewer than 3 unusually thirsty songs about Rarity, and Pinkie Pie, specifically the one dressed as a chicken. I'd say I was surprised, but General Mumble is also the guy who wrote a song about a horse-centipede hybrid creature and sprung it on me at Winnie City last year. My con-going experience was never the same again. There are also some absolutely wild song concepts sprinkled throughout that won me over in the end. The Sea Pony Olympic Committee has a song about underwater basket weaving. Francis Vase has My Rainbow Horse and Me, about a guy with Rainbow Dash as a deadbeat roommate. Replacer put out a scatty little instrumental called Blue Zoo, which I hated at first, but won me over in the end with just how silly it was. And a group of artists came together for Brony Calypse, an unabashed dubstep jam about being in the pony fandom that unironically slaps in a way that makes me proud to be a fan. But my weirdest experience of this whole binge was this weird feeling that I was being stalked by this band called The Horse Agrees. It started inconspicuously on Ignite with Revenge of the Pangolin, a charming, highly informative song about the most trafficked mammal on Earth. But over the next several albums, I kept running across their music, with equally dumb, charming songs about manatees, hippos, and emu, culminating in what I believe to be their magnum opus, an 8-minute rock opera recounting the plot of Stuart Little called Stuart Little in the Mouse of Madness. It turns out that you can actually thank Pegasus, who plays bass for the band with his 2 friends from high school as part of a goofy side project, but it's another testament to the free-for-all nature of an anthology album. As a whole, I highly recommend checking out Ponies at Dawn for yourself. There's so many artists that I now know I'm a huge fan of that I might not otherwise have known about because I live under a rock. You can also come join everyone on Ponytown or on the YouTube live stream on Saturday, September 28th for the Survivor's release party, hosted by longtime friends of the label, Lycan and Digit. It was an awesome experience last time, and it's a really positive atmosphere where people can hang around and discover new music together. You can also check out my playlist tab where I've organized my 100 favorite songs that have appeared on Ponies at Dawn over the last decade. You may just come across a new favorite. Thanks a lot for watching. Big thanks to Studio Cinemagic for the awesome little montage at the beginning, and to Spin Scissor for letting me sample his song Rich Kid for the background music. They're both beyond talented, you should check them both out. Thanks also for allowing me time to just geek out about something I know next to nothing about. Musicians are like wizards to me, they just make all their stuff sound so effortless. What are your favorite fan songs? Let me know in the comments and I'll be back in October with something else. Until next time, I'm some horse on the internet. Thanks for watching.